if you're new to my channel, thank you very much. I hope you enjoy what we're doing here. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you very much. Can't believe how many subscribers I've got in just a few hours, so thank you for that. It's quite windy here in Nottinghamshire, so I apologise for the noise. And obviously I'm doing it out in the garden, so you'll hear natural noises if you like. So I apologise for those, but wanted to get something down on video because the response from my last video has been tremendous. So we did the instruction yesterday, so today's video is diagnosis, from diagnosis. So we start way back in 2017. I was working for the ambulance service at the time. I was a ambulance service personnel. I was a paramedic's assistant, and I'd been, prior to that time, feeling unwell for quite a while. Typical man, bury his head in the sand. Didn't know quite what was wrong, but went with the flow. Was quite tired. I had no energy. It was quite hot as well, so drinking quite a bit. But all my colleagues were drinking. I think it was about 27 degrees at that time. And we're going back to June 2017. So nothing really stood out. However, one particular night we was on duty, and I'd not felt any serious side effects up until this point. But that particular day I was drinking a lot, and when I say a lot, I think I got through 16 bottles of Lucozade, and I didn't like Lucozade at the time, so that was a bit strange to me. So it came to 2 o'clock in the morning, and my eyes went blurry, I couldn't see very well, I felt drunk, the backs of my knees were like shaking. So something told me in my head that I had to test my blood sugar. So doing the job that I did, that was I could do that while my crewmate was in hospital in the department. I went on the back of the truck and tested my blood sugar level, and the meter said high. Bit of a shock to me that was, because I knew what high meant. I thought, oh, that can't be right. I'm not diabetic. So I rechecked it, washed my hands, rechecked it, and lo and behold, it came back high again. So I went into the department, found my crewmate, told him, said, right, we better get you booked in. So we got booked into A&E, and yeah, lo and behold, I was diabetic. Spent quite a few hours in A&E. It was a busy night. I was told I should have been in resource, but there was no space. So that was a little disconcerting. When the nurses kept coming back and checking on me every 20 minutes, half an hour, they were doing all sorts of things, putting up drips, doing lots of blood tests, and I actually said, how poorly am I? And I was told that I'd got about an hour to live. So I was quite seriously poorly. So we went up to the ward, spent one night on the ward, and just before I was due to be discharged, the doctor come round and said, yeah, I was seriously poorly. They're going to send me home as type 2 because they couldn't believe that a male of my age, I think I was 43, 44 then, couldn't possibly be type 1 because of my weight. So went home on glycoside and was told just to take the tablets. They gave me a BM kit and told me to test. and lo and behold, my sugars started to rise again. When I was in hospital, my BM was 40, and my HbA1c was 120. So that's ringing alarm bells for a start, isn't it? So yeah, I just before I was discharged, I had a 10-minute chat. This is the equipment you need. Told I needed to go to bed above a blood sugar reading of 10, otherwise I could die in my sleep, and that's how it was told to me. So you can imagine how I thought, what the feelings were going through my head. Nobody wants to be told you've only got an hour to live. Nobody wants to be told that you've got to go to bed at a certain level, otherwise you might die in your sleep. This was all told to me within a 24-hour period. Sent home, 10-minute chat. Was told that didn't have any longer because the nurse at the time had got quite a lot of people to see, and she was going home soon. So for me personally, the support wasn't there at diagnosis. So I was sent home. I was off work, obviously, with the ambulance service, and spent many months actually off work for various reasons. I had a new life. I had this disease, this condition, this illness, whatever you want to call it, that was thrown upon me. I went through a very horrible anger stage. I didn't eat, I didn't very often drink, I was frightened to drink, I was frightened to eat in case my blood sugars went up, and consequently I lost about 5 stone in about 3 or 4 months. I'd gone down from, I was bordering on a waist 40, and I could get into a waist 32. So yeah, it's the mental health aspect of type 1 diabetes diagnosis is horrific. I think there needs to be more support out there at diagnosis, because the medical profession are used to it day in and day out, but when you've had no dealings with diabetes, no family history of diabetes, then it's a bit of a shock, and it's hard to cope. It's hard to know what to do, it's hard to know how to act. The good thing is, once you've got it right, once you're at ease with diabetes, it does become easier. You learn to live with it. I struggled at first because all the tech, all the equipment, all the remembering appointments, it was hard going, and it took a strain on me, my kids, my wife, because you've got to remember, as a type 1 diabetic, it's not just your disease, it's your family's disease as well, because they live with it day in and day out. They see the lows, they see the highs, they see the mood swings, they see how you feel. I have a thing where I can feel hypo, but I'm not actually hypo. And I went to the doctors not long after diagnosis, and the GP told me it was all in my head. It's not a thing, but since moving, because I took poorly in a different county to where I live, so my care for the first year was dealt with in that county. So unfortunately, the care in that county wasn't right for me. There was lots of issues. So I decided that I was going to change county, so I went to a different county, which is Nottingham. So yeah, it's hard going. It's hard going. I struggled with injections. I was finding myself injecting 10 times a day. When I was first diagnosed, like I said, I came home with the glycoside, which is a tablet that's given to type 2s to try and reduce the sugar. Like I say, that didn't work, and my sugars were going up and up and up, and I got a call 2 weeks later saying, we just wanted to let you know that you're now type 1. not type 2 as thought because of the blood test results. So I had to go to hospital, bring all the equipment home, the blood glucose monitors, the keto monitors, the injections, the insulin pens, all sorts of things. So I was told that I had to go on a carb counting course. All the food that I ate had to be weighed, the carbs had to be calculated. I then had to work out the ratio of insulin to carbs and then inject that 10 to 15 minutes before I eat. So, sorry about the wind. So, me being me, like my food, some days I could eat 10 times a day, what with snacks, so I ended up injecting 10 times a day, and that in itself is horrific. They just show you once how to do it in hospital, and it's down to you really. And for anybody having to inject themselves 10 times a day is not pleasant. So struggled on with that. My levels weren't stabilising, they were either very high or very low. We found that there was a problem with the long-acting insulin, because as a type 1 diabetic you take 2 types of insulins if you're on MDI, multiple daily injections. You take a fast-acting, which you have when you eat, and then you take a long-acting, which carries you over for 24 hours. I take Tracebo, and that's a nighttime insulin. So not only do you have to take your daytime with your meal, you have to take a nighttime as well. And unfortunately I had to take mine in 2 different sites because I had a lot of insulin in one go at night time. So I had to do half of it in the left side and half of it in the right side. Yeah, it was a lot of injections. Consequently, I've ended up with, I think it's called litrostrophy or something, I can't remember the word, but basically I get lumps now in the scar tissue and the lumps where I inject. So going forward, the insulin I give myself now in big doses doesn't necessarily work as efficiently as it used to maybe when I was first diagnosed. So bringing that all the way to a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, we tried to get a pump from the panel on the grounds of Dawn phenomenon. That is a condition where your liver pumps out glucose around 4 AM in the morning to start the process of waking you up, and that's one of the first processes that hormones kick in, and your liver dumps some glucose and it wakes you up, or it gets you ready for waking up. And I had Dawn phenomena, and so I was always waking high and staying high till lunchtime. So an application was put into the pump panel. Jonathan's got Dawn phenomena, you could quite clearly see it, and by the time the pump panel had seen it, which I think was about 2 or 3 months, it had disappeared. So my application was rejected. There were some suggestions that the pump panel wanted me to do. So I spent the last 4 months backwards and forwards, not been easy in lockdown with coronavirus, but my team at QMC in Nottingham, Go QMC, have been amazing. I've had weekly telephone calls, I've had 3 calls from a consultant in 4 weeks. They're looking after me tremendously. Just want to say a massive thank you to Dr. Type, my consultant, and Sylvia, my diabetic specialist nurse. They've gone above and beyond to make sure I'm doing the best I can. They gave me a lot of work to do, changing ratios, changing psychs, doing this, that, and the other, and it still wasn't working. So we've gone back to pump panel towards the end of June, and I had a phone call from Dr. Tyke last week telling me that I'd been successful for a pump. She was so overjoyed for me. It was amazing. In fact, she had a little of a giggle that her and my specialist nurse Sylvia, who were battling against who was going to ring me and tell me the good news. So got to wait for a telephone call from pump team at QMC, and it all starts from there, on the road to a new journey, with virtually no injections. So this is basically going to be a life changer for me. I'm very privileged that the NHS has managed to see how hard it's been for me through my journey in the last 3 years. I'm very lucky and very privileged that I've managed to get a pump funding in those 3 years. Like I say, this is personal to me. I felt I need a pump. I felt that a pump will help after doing a lot of research. I seem to have a body that works better when it's trickle fed with insulin rather than in big doses. As soon as we increase my doses, it all goes wrong. So yeah, on the road to pump. So I'll do some videos on pump. I might even do some videos on the day that I go to hospital to see the pump team. Obviously, there's things I won't be able to film, but I can do a day in the life or something like that, see what we do. So yeah, that's about it really. It's been a hard 3 years. I know there's people with diabetes that have had it for years and it doesn't affect their lives. But for me personally, my body's not reacted very well to the changes since diagnosis. So yeah, it's been a hard road. Might do another video on the mental side of it, the mental health side of it, in fact, because I feel that any experiences through type 1 mental health wise is going to help anybody, and that's my aim really. Not to advise, but to follow my story and see how I'm doing and see how I'm getting on. So just to clarify that I'm not a medical professional. All views in this video are mine and mine alone. If you have any issues, then you must always seek help from your medical team, whether that be your consultant or your diabetic specialist nurse or the GP. I'll pop any links in the comments box down below. Big shout out to my friends at Facebook on Type 1 Diabetes Support UK. They're amazing. They're following my journey and supporting me all the way. Like you see in my my comments in the videos, I'm not affiliated with anybody, any business, any endorsements, and anything like that is my opinion and my opinion only. So yeah, if you like what we're doing, press that subscribe button, and if you have the icon bell, press that and you'll see all the notifications pop up when I post a new video. So, sorry about the wind here in Nottinghamshire, it's been a bit windy. It's still warm though, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care, stay strong.